Hello, my name is Caleb Jacobson, and today I'm going to talk to you about the issue of deforestation in Sweden, and specifically the destruction of their old growth forest. So, a little background on the deforestation of Sweden. So, Sweden is actually 70% covered in forest, and is the third largest exporter of timber and paper. Sweden has been known for a good practice of replanting all the trees they cut down, but they have done this very cheap and easily by replacing the cleared forest with monoculture farms. This means the old growth forest is replaced with trees of one species, and a lot of the times they're not native species because they can replant them with faster growing non-native species. And so only 1% of Sweden's original old growth forest is untouched. Sweden has promised to protect 20% of forest but by 2030, but they have not made any steps for this goal yet. So my SMART goals are to increase protected forest from 4% to 10% in 2025 and 20% in 2030. I would suggest to replant clear-cut forests with a large mix of native species. These goals will allow for the remaining old-growth forest to be protected and preserved. The clear-cut area will be given enough time, will provide better habitats for native species. It'll be important for these trees to be allowed to reach maturity because that has large benefits for the soil and for the species that call these forests home. So compared to the U.S. deforestation policy, the United States actually has the fourth largest forest in the world and covers about a third of the country. 56% of this land is privately owned, which is a lot different than Sweden. So this land cannot be swayed by public policy, and it's up to the landowner on what to do with this land. But of the 44% of the rest of the forest, 19.5% of this forest is designated wilderness lands, which means that it cannot be harvested, roads cannot be built, remains completely untouched. So these policies have allowed the United States to have 25% of its forest is old growth forest, and only 8% is those monoculture tree plantations. This is compared to 60% of the forest in Sweden are tree plantations. So possible solutions are raise the protected forest land to 20% from its 4% current value. The pro of this remaining old growth forest land is protected, but a con will be the old growth forest is the most profitable to harvest because the trees are larger, and thus this will impact the economy. Replanting forests with native species, this will help make the forest more suitable for native species because that's what they evolved for. A con, the native species of trees grow slower, thus making turnaround harvests take longer. We should require a certain level of biodiversity in the replanted forest. No longer replanting just one tree, have a good mix of the deciduous and coniferous trees, and this will help the forest become more resistant to disease and the soil retain the fertility better. A con of this will be replanting the forest will be more expensive. The final goal or solution could be to increase the time to reharvest the forest from 60 to 80 years to 80 to 100 years. This will allow more trees to reach maturity, which a pro of this will be the larger trees are more profitable to harvest and more efficient to harvest. So this could actually help the logging industry in the long term. But while they are waiting for these trees, it may find it difficult to maintain the rate of harvest, and this could hurt the Swedish economy. So my final solutions will be to pass a law protecting all untouched old growth forest and 20% of Sweden's forest. This is a relatively simple one and can have great effect on Sweden's forest. Should pass legislation requiring all forest cleared to be replaced with a diverse collection of native species. These native species will help protect the biodiversity of the forest and the animals that live there. And then the replanted forest must be left alone at least 80 years before any harvesting can occur. These will allow more trees to reach maturity, thus increasing the health of the forest. So possible issues of this. These solutions will cost money and will put strain on the logging industry, which is important for Sweden's economy. And since the logging industry is so profitable, they have access to large amounts of money, and they will try to sway public opinion on to not make these necessary changes. They will say that they replant all the forest, even though they are replanting them with unhealthy forest, basically. So looking to the future, forests play such a vital role on Earth, from filtering air and water to providing habitats for endangered species. And if we're not taking care of them, we're really doing us more harm than we are good from the lumber that we get. So, and it's not even, it wouldn't even be that difficult to have healthier forests. It's just a matter of going through the growing pains to get to that section. So hopefully Sweden can make these changes and other nations on the world can follow their example. Thank you for listening to me today, and have a good day.